Hi, everyone. Greetings from New York City. My name is Mia MacDonald. I'm the executive director of a public policy action tank called Brighter Green. We work on issues that span the environment, animal welfare, and global sustainability. And we've done a lot of work on food systems issues in relation to climate change, public health, animal welfare, biodiversity, livelihoods, and a number of other issues. And I'm really thrilled with the launch of the China Vegan Society today. I've been a vegan for about 25 years, and while I love it personally, really like to eat healthy, diverse, plant-based foods. I also think it's really important how being a vegan helps us see the world, helps us engage with others, human beings, and the non-human world. So this is a historic occasion, and I really wish you well. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the work that I've done and how that work intersects with some of the work you all are doing and embarking on in China. So my background is as a writer, a researcher, and someone who has studied and has a deep commitment to systems of good governance, to public policy, and how policies of governments, large institutions, academic institutions, even in the private sector, can really inform, influence, and shape the world in a better direction, a direction toward sustainability, toward justice, toward inclusion. And of course, we know, and you all will know this very well, food systems, agriculture, animal agriculture, it is crucial to the future of our planet. And climate scientists, biodiversity scientists are telling us we really have 10 years or less to really turn around the ways that human societies, human actions have really put the planet, the atmosphere, the life support systems, the ecosystems, the ecosystem services on which we all depend at risk. And so we are at a very crucial moment in human history, and that's also why the launch of the Vegan Society is so timely. Given the UN Food Systems Summit this year, the UN Climate Change Summit taking place towards the end of this year, the UN Convention on Biological Diversity Summit, obviously taking place in China, the Sustainable Development Goals still out there, and a growing youth movement and a group of scientists and actually government leaders also telling us we really need to get a grip on the climate crisis. And we know that animal agriculture is a key contributor to climate change itself, as well as deforestation, as well as water pollution, as well as exploitation of billions of animals. So I will tell you, I'm not really a foodie. Sure, I like to eat. I love vegetables. I really like fruit as well. But I love the varied plant-based cuisines that I've encountered really all over the world. And I do a lot of traveling, or did pre-COVID, for my work. In China, I've loved the banquets, the different ways of using mushrooms and vegetables, and the creativity and the real beauty of some of the food. Here in the US, our cuisines are not quite as beautiful, but certainly can be varied and can be plant forward. So I just want to talk a little bit about how I got involved with some work in China. So way back, still this century, but more than 10 years ago, Brighter Green began by doing some in-depth research on the growth of large-scale animal agriculture in different countries around the world, what the trends in both production and also consumption of meat and dairy, what that looked like, and what some of the consequences of that were. And through that work for China, we met up with Jen Yi, through a mutual colleague here in New York, a Chinese-American film producer. And Jen Yi took that research and really expertly and in a very innovative way, turned that into a story of how are these big trends in such a large and complex and diverse country like China, how are they affecting people? And so out of that, the rest was history, we could say, came a film called What's for Dinner that many of you may have seen, the first film looking at the growth of large-scale animal agriculture and especially meat consumption in China and the effects of that on individuals across a broad range of society and different ways that they interact with the food system. So that was the first concrete project that we worked on together. And then through that, just a number of different things evolved. Film screenings, research, advocacy, engagement with young Chinese who are really extraordinary, many of them, many of you. And out of some of that work also emerged the Good Food Fund, which many of you will know. And we're thrilled that Brighter Green is a partner with much of the Good Food Fund's work. I've also had a varied career in recent years and also earlier on in journalism, in nonprofit advocacy. I worked very closely with Nobel Peace Laureate Wangari Maathai, who's the first environmentalist, first African woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. And I'm also involved with an organization now called the Culture and Animals Foundation. And while it is not a vegan advocacy organization per se, the idea behind it is to really see how society can change how we interact with animals and the non-human world. And so we fund, it's basically a grant-making organization in the arts, in research, academic research, and in creativity. And I'm the chair of that board now, and it was founded by Tom Reagan, who wrote The Case for Animal Rights and is a real leader in how we think about our relations with the non-human world and particularly animals. And his wife, Nancy, also co-founded it with him. Unfortunately, Tom passed away a few years back, but we have a lot of work that we do. And most recently, we established a Nancy Reagan Prize for Art. And we gave it for the first time this year, just about a month ago. And the winner is actually a Hong Kong-based cartoonist who does incredibly creative work looking at animal issues through beautiful cartoons. And her name is Joan Chan Wing Yan. And we're thrilled. She's a young woman that she's the first recipient of this award. So what I see as being part of a vegan community is there's so many ways to be engaged through cooking food, growing food, sharing food, discussing food issues, engaging around the politics and policy in food systems. Certainly for me, it's important to link with environment and animal welfare. Also to see how veganism can be part of the arts, inform the arts, and how artists of all different disciplines can be engaged in work on behalf of veganism, on behalf of ourselves as a human community, and on behalf of the non-human world. And one message I would just like to leave you with today is I do think the COVID-19 crisis, and while it's getting better in the US, we're not out of the woods yet, has really shown many of us just the ways that the world before COVID was really failing. The way we treat the environment, the climate crisis, the biodiversity crisis, many kinds of inequalities in our society. And COVID really illuminated that for many, many people. And while the origins of the virus, the exact origins may be mysterious, we do know that it does come from how we engage with the non-human world and how we humans use other animals, use the environment. And so what I and many others now are thinking and working on is how can the post-COVID world lead to a new relationship, both thinking, action, between human communities, ourselves. We obviously need to repair a lot of our relationships with each other, but also with the non-human world, and especially with non-human animals. How can we treat them with respect, dignity? How can we recognize that our lives depend on theirs? And I think that's a hugely important challenge, opportunity, issue for policy, for philosophy, for creativity going forward. And as we've said, the next 10 years are really, really crucial. So I'm just so pleased that you all are meeting today, launching the China Vegan Society. And please know that you have many supporters and allies around the world who really want to engage with you, learn from you, share ideas with you, and wish you very, very well. So thank you so much, and hope I will meet some of you in person before too long. Thanks. Bye-bye.